Hello everyone, we are back. We're still in chapter 2, lesson 5, and we're solving one-step equations, but now we're going to be solving equations using multiplication and division to find what the variable is. So we're going to solve each equation and we're going to check each answer. So if you look at these are a little different. Example 2 are a little bit different than example 1. And can you tell what's different? This is b divided by -5. So to figure out what b is, we still need it by itself on this side of the equation. And if you can see, it is not by itself. There's a division symbol and it's divided by -5. So we have to use one of our inverse operations to get b by itself. And remember we talked about inverse operations last time. Inverse operations. The inverse operation of addition is subtraction, and subtraction is addition, or positive and negative and positive are inverse operations. The other one is multiplication and division. Those are inverse operations, and division is the inverse operation of multiplication. So let's look at this question right here. Okay, we have to get rid of this -5. But how is this -5 related to b? It is related to b through the operation of division. So in order to get b by itself, we have to do the inverse operation of division, which would be multiplication. So we're going to multiply both sides by whatever this number is. And this number is -5. So that means we are going to multiply it by a -5. Now, whenever we solve equations, we have to do things equally. So whatever we do to this side of the equation, we also have to do to this side of the equation to keep things in balance. So what happens is we have -5 over 1, and when we multiply these two things, these -5s, they cancel out with each other, and what it becomes is 1 times b, which is equal to b, and we have b by itself. And then we're just multiplying 6 times -5. Now, whenever you have a parenthesis and there's this 6 outside of the parenthesis, that means multiplication. So remember the multiplication rules. A positive multiplied by a negative is a negative, and 6 times 5 is 30. So the answer would be -30. That is what b equals. Now we need to check our answer. So we're going to write the word check, and we're going to write the original equation, which is b divided by -5, or b over -5, equals 6. And we're going to substitute -30 in for b. So -30 divided by -5 equals 5. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. And so we have just 30 divided by 5. How many times does 5 go into 30? It goes in 6 times. So it's 6 equals 6, which means this is a true statement, which means the number that we stuck in for b, which is -30, is the solution to our original equation, so we did it right. All right, so that's 2a. Let's go on to 2b. We have -400 equals 8y. We're trying to get y by itself. Is y by itself on this side of the equation? No, it is not. There's an 8. It's 8y. And if you remember, 8y is the same thing as 8 times y. So 8 is related to y through multiplication, the operation of multiplication. Well, what is the inverse operation of multiplication? It is division. So what we have to do is we have to divide 8y by 8. And I'm just using this division symbol like that. And whatever we do to this side, we have to do to this side. So 8 divided by 8 is 1. 1 times y is just y. So now we have y by itself. And we just need to figure out how many times does 8 go into 400. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to write it over here. 400 divided by 8. Does 8 go into 4? No, it does not. Does 8 go into 40? Yes, it does. 5 times. And then we go 5 times 8 is 40. Just do a little subtraction. You subtract. 40 minus 40 is 0. Then you drop this 0 down. Does 8 go into 0? No, it is not. Does not. So you put a 0 there. 0 times 8 is 0. And there's no remainder. So the answer is 50. And so that is what y equals. Now, I always like to write the y on the left side. So y equals 50. That is the answer. Let's go ahead and check. So I'm going to write the original equation. Negative 400 equals 8y. And we're going to substitute 50 in for y. Oh, I'm sorry. A negative divided by a positive is a negative. I forgot about the signs. Negative divided by a positive is a negative, so that means the answer is a negative 50. So we're going to substitute negative 50 in for y. So it's 8, and whenever we substitute in a negative number, we need to put it in parentheses, just like that. Perfect. So we just need to do this. This is simplified. We need to simplify this. We're going 8 multiplied by a negative number. A positive times a negative is always going to be a negative. And then we just need to figure out, well, what is 50 times 8? 8 times 0 is 0. 8 times 5 is 40. So we got the same answer. So this is a true statement, which means our answer is correct. Woohoo! Now it is your turn, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to work on check it out 2A and check it out 2B. So go ahead, pause. Where's our friend the pause dragon? Here he is. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, so make sure you pause, and when you get done with the solving each equation and checking it, press play and we'll go over the answers. All right, we are back. Let's go ahead and figure out this problem. So we are trying to figure out what C equals. Is C by itself on this side of the equation? No, it's not. There is a 4 here. How is 4 related to C? It's related through division, so we have to do the inverse operation, which is multiplication. So we're going to multiply both sides by 4. So when we multiply these together, the 4's cancel out and they become 1. And 1 times C is just C. So now C is by itself. When we have a negative times a positive, that is a negative. And then we just need to figure out, well, what is 24? I'm going to do it over here. 24 times 4. 24 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16. We write the 6. We carry the 1. 4 times 2 is 8 plus 1 is 9. So our answer is a negative 96. So let's go ahead and check it. We're going to rewrite the original equation. C divided by 4 equals negative 24. And then we're going to substitute negative 96 in for C. So negative 96 divided by 4. I didn't put it in parentheses because C is the only thing written there on top, so it's okay as just the negative 96. If there was multiple things, like if it was 2C or something, then I would put it in parentheses, but it's okay like that. We were trying to see if that's equal to negative 24. So we need to do this division. Let's go ahead and figure out, well, what is 96 divided by 4? Well, 4 goes into 9 2 times. 2 times 4 is 8. 9, take away 8 is 1. We drop the 6 down. How many times does 4 go into 16? It goes in 4 times. 4 times 4 is 16. And there's no remainder. So our answer is 24. But remember, when we divide a negative times a positive, our answer is negative. So there we go. It's the same thing, which means it's true. So if you got this right, great job. You're awesome. Let's go on to example 2B. Okay, we have negative 200 equals 4x. We are trying to get x by itself. Is x on this side of the equation, and is it by itself? No, there's this 4. Well, how is 4 related? Through what operation? 4x is the same thing as 4 times x, so it's multiplication. So we have to do the inverse operation of multiplication, which is division. So we're going to divide both sides by 4. Okay, so I'm going to do this little multiplication over here. 200 divided by 4. 4 goes into 2. No, it does not. 4 goes into 20. Yes, it does. How many times? It goes in 5 times. 5 times 4 is 20. We subtract, and that's a difference of 0. Then we bring down the 0. Does 4 go into 0? No, it does not. So our answer is 50. And a negative divided by a positive is a negative. Equals 4 divided by 4 is 1. 1 times x is just x. And I always like to switch it around so I have my variable on the left side. So there we have it. X equals negative 50. So let's check it. We're going to rewrite the original equation. Negative 200 equals 4x. And I'm going to rewrite this, and then we're just going to substitute negative 50 in for x. Now there's this 4 here, and it's 4 times x, so I'm going to go ahead and write the parentheses because it's a negative number. And we just have to do this. So I'm going to do this over on the side. 50 times 4. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 5 is 20. So our answer is equal to 200. And it's a positive times a negative, which is a negative. So we have, and we drop this down, negative 200. So they equal the same. It's a true statement. So if you got that right, awesome job. If you didn't, go ahead and rework the problem so your work here is correct and your check is correct. All right, I will see you next time. Bye-bye.